The sky was dark. The wind moved slowly across the dead battlefield. Ash and smoke filled the air. Burnt trees, broken machines, and empty helmets lay everywhere. No birds, no animals, only silence. Jason Walker, a human soldier, walked alone. Across the ground, his boots crushed bones and metal. He looked around with tired eyes. His squad had left hours ago. He stayed behind to search for survivors. Or answers. Jason wasn't a hero. He was just a man who had seen too much. War had taken his family, his friends, even his sleep. But something inside him refused to stop caring. As he stepped over a destroyed alien vehicle, he heard something strange. A voice, faint, soft, like wind through glass. "Please." Jason froze. He turned, his heart racing. Nothing, then again. "Breed with me." His blood ran cold. He pulled out his weapon and crouched low. The voice was close now, behind a broken wall. He moved slowly, carefully. "I have no one." Left, Jason pushed aside the rubble and saw her. An alien woman. Lying on her side. Her silver skin was cut and dirty. Her long hair was tangled, and her body was shaking. But her eyes were glowing softly. She looked at him and tried to smile. "You heard me," she whispered. Jason didn't speak. He was in shock. She looked too weak to move, too fragile to fight. He lowered his weapon. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. "My name is Arena," she said, her voice barely a breath. "I'm the last." Jason didn't understand. "Last? Of what?" Arena coughed. Blood ran from the corner of her mouth. "My people, my race, gone. Bombs, disease, betrayal, all gone. I'm the last female. I have no one left." Jason stepped closer. "Why me?" Tears fell from her strange, glowing eyes. "Because you didn't walk away. Everyone else did. Humans, aliens. They saw me, and they turned their backs. But you stopped. You looked." Jason sat beside her slowly. His armor creaked, but he stayed quiet. "I'm not like the others," she said. "My bloodline is royal. If I die, my kind dies forever. Our history, our soul, everything ends." She looked deep into Jason's eyes. "I need to pass it on. And only one with a true heart can do that. I felt it in you." Jason's mind raced. This couldn't be real. She was asking him to help her continue her race. Breed with her? It sounded insane. He looked around. "Why didn't you escape?" "I tried," she said weakly. "But my own people. They betrayed me. They feared my power." "They feared what?" "A child of mine could become." Jason looked at her broken body. "And what if I say no?" "Then I'll die here," she said, closing her eyes. "And my people will vanish like dust in the wind." Jason was quiet for a long time. The wind howled through the broken battlefield. A metal piece clanged in the distance. The world felt empty. He looked down at Arena. She had stopped shaking. Her chest moved slowly, her breath shallow. She looked peaceful, like she had accepted death. Jason didn't know why, but something in him moved. He touched her hand. It was cold. Her eyes opened. "You didn't leave," she said softly. "No," Jason replied. "I didn't." Arena gave him a weak smile. "Then maybe there's hope." Suddenly, a sound echoed in the distance. A whirring noise, metal wings, cutting through air. Jason stood and looked up. Drones. Coming fast. He grabbed Arena's arm. "We need to move." "I can't walk," she said. "I'll carry you," he said firmly. He lifted her gently, and her arms wrapped around his neck. Her body was light, like she had no weight left. But her heartbeat, it was still there. As Jason ran toward the old bunker he had seen earlier, he heard Arena whisper something in his ear. "You don't know it yet, but you were always meant for this." The drones flew above them, scanning the ruins. Jason reached The bunker just in time and slipped inside with Arena in his arms. The door closed. And the sound outside faded. Inside, it was dark and quiet. Jason placed Arena on an old mattress and sat beside her. She looked up at him. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" He asked. "For listening." Jason didn't reply. He looked at her and felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Purpose. He didn't understand everything. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't going to walk away. Not this time. Jason had been in bunkers before. Cold, dark, and full of memories no one wanted. But this bunker felt different. It felt watched. The small lights flickered as he checked the door again. Sealed. Safe for now. Arena lay on the old mattress, her glowing eyes open, staring at the cracked ceiling above. Her breathing was slow, her body still weak. But something in her had changed. Jason turned to her. "You should rest." She didn't answer. He sat down beside her, unsure what to say. His thoughts were loud. Why me? Why did she ask me to do something like that? Finally, her voice broke the silence. Soft, clear. "You're still here." Jason looked at her. "Yeah." "Everyone else ran." Jason paused. "I don't know why I didn't." Arena turned her head slowly. Her glowing eyes met his. "I do," she whispered. Jason waited. "You have something inside you," she continued. "A spark. Not just kindness, something more. You listened. You cared, even when you didn't have to. That's rare." Jason didn't know what to say. "I'm just a soldier." "No," she said. "You're the key." He frowned. "Key to what?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cold, but her touch was soft, like wind on water. "My people had a test," she said. "Not for strength. Not for power. For soul." Jason raised an eyebrow. "A test?" "Only one who feels without needing a reason. Only one who can protect life, even when it's not his own. That person could carry the seed of the royal line." Jason pulled his hand back slowly. "You make it sound like I was chosen." "You were." He stood and walked to the other side of the room. "This is crazy," he muttered. "I'm human." I'm dying," she said. "And I don't have time to make you believe in destiny." He turned to her. "You don't even know me." "I don't have to." "Your actions spoke louder than your words." The silence between them grew heavy. Then a strange light shimmered across Arena's skin. Faint markings began to glow on her arms, thin, ancient patterns like stars dancing. Jason stared. "What's happening to you?" She looked down at her skin. "The bond has started. Even without touch, my body responds to yours." Jason took a step back. "I didn't do anything." "You didn't need to," she said. "The royal energy chooses its match. I'm just the carrier. You're the lock it fits into." Jason shook his head, confused. "I don't understand any of this." Suddenly, the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Jason grabbed his gun. Arena's eyes widened. "They've found us." Jason ran to the door screen. A red light blinked motion outside. "Something large. We can't stay," he said. Arena tried to sit up but winced in pain. "They want to stop the bond. If it completes, I'll be able to create life again. My enemies fear that more than death." Jason stared at her. "What kind of life?" "Hybrid," she said. "Half human, half royal, a new beginning." Jason swallowed hard. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. "But you didn't turn away." Arena answered. The shaking grew louder. A growling noise echoed through the air vents. Jason turned to her. "Can you move?" "No." "Then I carry you again." She smiled softly. "Even now you protect me." Jason walked over, lifted her carefully, and placed her in his arms. As he did, a faint light passed between them, like their bodies spoke in silence. Arena's hand rested on his chest. "You still don't believe it, do you?" "I don't know what to believe," he said. She leaned her head against his shoulder. "Then believe in this," she whispered. "If I die, everything ends. But if I live because of you, maybe something beautiful begins." Jason didn't speak. He just held her tighter and opened the door into the darkness ahead. The forest was silent. Too silent. Jason moved carefully, Arena held in his arms. Her breathing was slow but steady now. The glow on her skin had faded, but the bond between them had not. The moon above was cracked, just like this world. Jason paused behind a tree. His boots sank slightly into soft red moss. He looked over his shoulder. No one, but he felt it. They were being watched. Suddenly, Arena stirred. Her eyes opened wide with fear. "They're close," she whispered. Jason tightened his grip. "Who?" She closed her eyes and said, "My own people." Jason blinked. "What?" She nodded weakly. "Not all of them were destroyed. Some stayed behind. Not to save me, but to finish what they started." Jason leaned against a rock and hid behind thick vines. "Why would they want you dead?" Arena's voice trembled. "Because I carry something they fear. Hope." Jason narrowed his eyes. "I thought they were your people. They were. Until I refused to become what they wanted." She paused. "They see me as a threat to the future they chose. A clean end, no more suffering, no more pain." Jason whispered, "So they'd rather see their kind die out than let you survive?" "Yes," she said, "because my child could change everything." Jason looked out into the trees. A low hum buzzed through the air. He aimed his rifle, scanning the area. Suddenly, a blue flash flew past, just inches from his face. A drone. Another came buzzing from the sky. Then a third. Jason ducked, pulling Arena behind a fallen log. One drone fired a pulse beam, missing them by a hair. Jason cursed under his breath. "They're not giving up." "No," Arena whispered. "They'll chase me across every planet until I vanish." Jason fired a shot. One drone exploded. The others swirled back, regrouping. Arina touched his arm. "You don't have to do this. You can leave. They only want me." Jason turned to her. His voice was calm, cold, but full of fire. "I don't walk away." Arena's eyes softened. "Even if it kills you," Jason smirked. "Especially if it pisses them off." He helped her stand, holding her steady. They ran deeper into the forest. The trees grew thicker. The sky disappeared behind black leaves. Jason saw a cave ahead. In there, he shouted. As they ran in, a drone shot Arena's shoulder. She cried out in pain and fell. Jason grabbed her, lifted her again, and carried her inside the cave. The walls glowed faintly from some natural crystals. He placed her down behind a large stone. Her skin was pale, and her body shook from the wound. He tore part of his shirt and pressed it to her shoulder. She looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "They shot me to slow you down. They knew you'd stay." Jason pressed harder on the wound. They were right. Outside, the buzzing grew louder. Jason stood, ready to fight. Arena's hand caught his wrist. "If they take me, they will erase me. There will be no memory, no story, nothing left." Jason knelt down beside her. "Then I won't let them take you." She looked at him, her voice just a breath. "Why?" He thought for a moment, then said simply, "Because I've lost too many people I cared about. I'm not letting that happen again." She stared at him, then whispered, "They were wrong about your kind." Jason smiled. "They usually are." Suddenly, the sound outside stopped. Too quiet again. Jason stood, gun ready. A voice echoed into the cave, cold, sharp. "Return the royal blood, or die beside her." Jason stepped forward, his voice strong. "Come and get her." Arena reached toward him, her fingers glowing again. "If I don't survive, take my memory. Tell the stars I tried." Jason turned, knelt down, and looked into her eyes. "You're not dying. he said. "You're surviving with me." Then he kissed her forehead, stood up, and faced the mouth of the cave. A final battle was coming. But Jason had already made his choice, and nothing, not alien weapons, not death itself, was going to change it. The storm had passed, but the silence it left behind felt louder than war. Deep inside the glowing cave, Jason sat with his back to the wall. His gun rested in his lap. His hands were still shaking from the fight. Next to him, Arina slept, but her sleep wasn't peaceful. Her skin glowed again. Faint blue lines danced across her arms and face, like lightning under her skin. Her breathing was heavy. Her hands twitched. Jason leaned closer. "Arina?" Her eyes opened, suddenly bright and filled with something ancient. She looked at him as if seeing him for the first time. "You touched the bond," she whispered. Jason frowned. "What do you mean?" Arina sat up slowly, her shoulders still bandaged. "The bond is no longer just a choice. It's real now. It's growing inside both of us." Jason leaned back. "But I didn't do anything." Arina smiled softly. "That's what makes it stronger." Jason looked down at his hands. "So what happens now?" She reached toward him and placed her palm over his heart. The moment she touched him, a spark lit between them, soft, warm, electric. Jason's eyes widened. A glowing mark appeared on his chest just for a second, then faded. Arina gasped. "You bear the mark. The bond is complete." Jason pulled back. "Wait, what does that mean?" Arina looked at him seriously. "It means we're linked now, in body and soul." Jason stood, nervous. "Is this some kind of magic?" "No," she said, standing slowly. "It's ancient science. My people called it Sirakal, the heart bridge, only formed once in a lifetime." Jason stared at her. "But we didn't. You didn't have to. The bond chose for us. It's rare, it's forbidden, and it's powerful." Jason was quiet for a long time. He finally said, "Why is it forbidden?" Arina looked down. Her voice turned heavy. "Because my people believed love made us weak. Emotion was dangerous. Passion broke logic. So they made rules, cold ones. No bonding outside the royal circle. No feelings for outsiders. No bridge between worlds." She looked up, eyes full of truth. "You broke that rule just by not leaving me." Jason sighed. "Sounds like your people hated hope." Arina smiled faintly. "That's why they died." Jason sat down again, processing everything. "So now." "What? I'm marked. You're bonded. Does that mean?" Arina nodded. "It means your body is already changing to match mine, slowly, carefully, so the life we create can exist in both worlds." Jason stood again, his heart pounding. "You mean?" "Yes," she said softly. "It has begun." He walked a few steps away, breathing hard. "This is too much," he muttered. "I didn't sign up for this." "No," she said gently. "You didn't, but you were chosen." Jason turned sharply. "By what?" She stepped closer, her voice calm. "By the universe. By fate. Maybe by something we don't understand. But I know this: if I die, the bond dies with me. And you'll feel that pain forever." Jason looked at her, and in that moment, he believed her. Because deep in his chest, where that strange mark had appeared, he felt something warm and terrifying. Not fear, not pain, but connection. Suddenly, a noise echoed from the cave wall. A deep growl. Jason raised his weapon. Arina's eyes narrowed. A new threat. "They've sent a hunter," she said. Jason looked confused. "Another drone?" "No," Arina said, stepping beside him. "This one is alive, flesh and bone. Trained from birth to kill bonded ones like us." Jason swallowed. "How does it find us?" Arina placed a hand over her glowing skin. "Bond shines like fire in the dark. It's a beacon now." Jason gripped his weapon tighter. "Then we fight." Arina reached out and touched his hand. "No," she whispered. "This time, We run together. Jason nodded. Not as a soldier, not as a savior, but as something new. Something more. Together, they left the cave, and somewhere in the shadows the hunter followed, silent and deadly. But it was already too late. The bond had formed, and nothing in the galaxy could break it now. The rain fell hard. Cold drops hit Jason's face as he stood in the middle of the abandoned tower ruins. Wind howled through broken walls. The sky above was filled with dark clouds and distant thunder, but it wasn't the storm that made him shiver. It was the voice behind him. Breed with her, and you doom the galaxy. Jason slowly turned around. A tall alien figure stood at the close edge of the ruins, wearing armor made of bone and black metal. Its face was hidden behind a helmet shaped like a screaming skull. The hunter, Arena's people, had once feared this creature. Now it was real, standing before them. Arena, weak but standing, held onto a rusted beam for balance. Her eyes burned with fear and fury. "You came for me," she said. The hunter's voice was deep and full of hate. "I came to end what your mother started." Jason stepped in front of Arena, raising his rifle. "You'll have to go through me." The hunter didn't move. "Human, you don't know what she is." "I know enough," Jason growled. "She's not just royalty," the hunter said. "She's the key to a weapon. One buried inside her blood." Jason looked at Arena. "Is that true?" Arena looked away. "There's more. But I didn't tell you, because I wanted to live as more than a weapon." The hunter spoke again. "Her child will be more than just a mix of two worlds. It will inherit powers that can tear the stars apart. That's why the bloodline must end." Jason lowered his gun slightly. His mind spun with confusion. "Arena?" She stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but broken. "My mother was the last living mind of the Siracal project. She hid the truth. Inside me is not just a bond, it's a seed. If activated, it can wake the sleeping weapons hidden across the galaxy." Jason whispered, "So that's why they want you dead?" Arena nodded. "I never asked for it. I only wanted to survive. To be loved, to create life, not destroy it." The hunter raised his blade. "Then die now, and let the galaxy breathe free." Jason stepped between them again. "No," he said. "She's not the weapon. She's the reason I started feeling again. And if the universe fears hope, then maybe it deserves to burn." The hunter lunged. Jason fought. Blades clashed. Energy blasts lit the stormy sky. Jason took hits, but never let Arena out of his sight. Blood ran down his side, but he stayed on his feet. Finally, with one last scream, Jason drove his blade into the hunter's chest. The alien dropped to its knees. Before dying, it looked. Space was quiet, peaceful, but inside the ship, life was changing. Jason stood beside the glass window of the medical chamber. His eyes were locked on Arena. She floated inside a healing pod filled with golden light. Thin wires wrapped around her arms and legs. Her glowing skin shimmered brighter than ever before. The ship hummed softly as it drifted far beyond the war-torn world they had escaped. Jason's reflection stared back at him from the glass, tired eyes, scars on his face. But behind those eyes, something new. Hope. A soft voice spoke behind him. "Her cells are rewriting," said the ship's AI. "She is no longer only royal. The human DNA has merged." Jason nodded slowly. "Will she survive?" "Her body is strong," the AI replied. "But her soul is under pressure. She is carrying a spark of something this galaxy has never seen before." Jason stepped closer to the pod. Inside, Arena's stomach glowed with a soft pulse. A heartbeat. Jason reached out and placed his hand on the glass. "That's our child?" "Yes," the AI confirmed. "And it is already changing you." Jason looked down. His fingers had faint lines of light running through them. He hadn't noticed before. "What's happening to me?" "The bond works both ways," the AI explained. "You are becoming something." Not quite human anymore. Jason didn't respond. He only watched Arena. Floating, glowing, alive. Memories hit him like lightning. The first time she spoke. The way she begged not for help, but for life. How she believed in him. Even when he didn't single quotes t. Now, here she was fighting to bring a new life into existence. A life others feared. A life they would hunt. But Jason wasn't afraid anymore. He felt ready. Suddenly, warning lights flashed. Red alert. Unidentified vessel approaching. Jason turned to the screen. A sleek black ship moved fast toward them. Silent. No signals. No answers. A warship. He slammed his fist on the control panel. They found us, the AI answered calmly. If they board this vessel, they will kill her. And the child. Jason gritted his teeth. Then we don't let them. He grabbed his gear, strapped on his weapons, and ran to the docking bay. But as he reached the door, he stopped. A soft voice echoed behind him. Jason. He turned. Arena stood in the hallway, wrapped in a white robe. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. Her body was different, stronger, taller, almost celestial. Arena, he rushed to her. You're awake. She nodded, her hand resting gently on her glowing belly. I heard the child call me, she said softly. It told me. We're not done. Jason looked at her, stunned. You're different. She smiled. We're different. The ship rocked suddenly as the enemy vessel docked. Jason raised his gun. I'll hold them off. You stay here. Arena shook her head. No, we stand together. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about becoming. Jason hesitated. Then nodded. They moved side by side toward the docking chamber. As the enemy soldiers broke through the door, expecting chaos. They stopped, because what they saw wasn't a weak alien woman and a tired human soldier. They saw two beings glowing. Powerful, united. And they were afraid. Arena raised her hand. A wave of light burst out, knocking the invaders back like leaves in a storm. Jason fired beside her, protecting every inch of their future. Together, they fought not just for their lives, but for the life yet to come. Later, in silence, they stood under the stars again. Arena rested her head on Jason's shoulder. I never thought I'd live to see the sky again, she whispered. Jason held her hand. You won't just see it. You'll change it. She looked up at him. With you. And for the first time in a long time, she smiled like someone who finally believed in tomorrow. Far away, hidden among the stars, the child's heartbeat grew stronger. The universe was changing, and its rebirth had already begun. Asterisk. Earth had never seen a sky like this. Above the capital city, the clouds parted, revealing a silver ship slowly descending from the stars. People stopped in the streets. Soldiers aimed their weapons. News screens flashed. Unidentified alien vessel entering human airspace. Inside the ship, Jason stood beside Arena. She wore white armor, soft and glowing, like it was made of light and memory. Her hand rested on her stomach. The heartbeat of the child inside her pulsed like a second sun. Jason adjusted his jacket and looked at her. You sure about this? He asked. Arena nodded. If we hide forever, we lose. But if we show them who we are, maybe they'll remember what it means to choose hope. Jason smiled faintly. Then let's give them something to believe in. The ship landed with a quiet hum. Dozens of armored humans surrounded the landing pad. Military leaders, government officials, and thousands of citizens watched from behind. Safety barriers. The doors opened. Jason stepped out first, hands raised. No weapons. Behind him, Arena walked slowly, proudly. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Is that a royal alien? She's glowing. She's pregnant? The soldiers says ED. Then one man stepped forward. General Marcus Stone, Earth's top war leader. He stared at Jason, then at Arena. We were told she was dangerous. Jason answered calmly. She was hunted for what she might become. But no. Whenever asked what she chose to be, the general frowned. And what did she choose? Jason stepped aside and let Arena speak for herself. Her voice was clear but soft. I chose peace. I chose life. I chose him. She reached for Jason's hand. He held it. The general looked uncertain. And the child? Arena looked down. At her belly, then back up, will be the first of a new path. Not a weapon, a bridge. Someone in the crowd shouted, but what if she's lying? Another voice answered, louder this time, an old woman near the front. She's not. Look at her eyes. That's a mother's eyes. Silence followed. Then the general did something no one expected. He removed his helmet and knelt not in surrender, but in respect. I've fought wars my whole life, he said. But I never saw anyone walk into the lion's mouth with nothing but truth in their heart. He stood again and saluted Arena. You're not our enemy. The soldiers lowered their weapons. The crowd broke into whispers. Then claps. Then cheers. Jason looked at Arena. They're choosing you, he whispered. She smiled with tears in her eyes. No, they're choosing us. Months later, the world had changed. News networks called it the turning point. Aliens and humans had started talks. Old wounds began to heal. But the greatest change wasn't in the sky. It was in a small medical center on Earth. Jason sat beside Arena's bed, holding her hand. Her face glowed with soft light. The doctors had stepped away. In her arms, she held a baby, their baby, small, wrapped in warmth, with eyes that glowed like stars, and a smile that looked a little too wise for a newborn. Jason kissed Arena's forehead. You did it. No, she whispered. We did. The baby stirred, reached a hand into the air, and tiny threads of light followed his fingers. Arena and Jason looked at each other. This child wasn't just born, he was meant. Maybe, just maybe, he was the future everyone had been waiting for.